In 1516, Thomas More, who was a politician and a political philosopher and a armchair theologian and thinker and leader, began to observe the situation around him. It was filled with contradictions and with struggle. The political class was not doing their job, and they were constantly arguing with one another against the common good. The church, which he so loved, too, was having their own infighting between Protestants and Catholics, and they could not get their act together. It was leading constantly to violent war. The smaller neighborhoods were perceiving this conflict, and they too were finding themselves in constant strife. Society, as he knew it, was not functioning in the way that he thought it should function, in a way that led to the common good. And so he published a novel called Utopia. Utopia, a beautiful, interesting Greek word, and he purposely used it as a pun. See, utopia in Greek is no place. Utopia in Greek is good place. No place, good place. Some in his time thought that this was a beautiful satire about the current state of the way things were during this season. Others felt like it was some kind of imaginary illusion that would never come to pass. No matter what they felt, the truth is that Thomas More is then credited to as the one beginning the genre that we call dystopian fiction today. There have been many others since he wrote Utopia who have written about a perfect society, a perfect place, often out of the struggle of observing society today. Whether you're talking about Margaret Atwood's Handmaid's Tale or George Orwell's 1984 or the many other dystopian novels, they have something in common, and that is that they recognize that something currently is not well, and we must be shaken into thinking about a new way, a new day. Well, I admire Thomas More, and I'm thankful that he wrote Utopia, but I hate to tell him that he's not the originator of such a thing. That way before he came on the scene, there was this guy named John of Patmos who found himself in jail due to his commitments to the good news of Jesus Christ. And out of that circumstance, being jailed for his faith, seeing the Christians around his community being killed and put to jail themselves, he begins writing what we today know as Revelation. Out of the difficulty that he describes, he begins to then have a vision. A vision of a new day. A vision of a new community. A vision of a new city. A new Jerusalem. And he invites us into that vision. And did you hear what that vision is like? This is unlike other visions that we might be familiar with in the Christian faith. This is not an escapist vision of us good folks being taken away from the bad place. No. That's not this kind of vision. This is a vision where God, creator of the universe, comes into our city, into our place. A God who, as the writer tells us, dwells among us, lives in us, right here, right now, in the middle of the mess that we might be in, and brings something into this world of ours. no pain, no mourning, no disease, no death. This Creator God indwells this world, and all of a sudden begins making something new out of the stuff here, making all things new. It sounds amazing, don't it? It's magic. It's powerful. It's inspiring. And I know we kind of nod and hear it, and we go yes, and we can even imagine it. We, like Thomas More, might be thinking, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful? I got to tell you something about myself. Since we're beginning our time together, I feel like it's important that you know me a little better. And one thing you need to learn about me, if you haven't figured it out yet, is that I'm an idealist. So I'm an idealist. See, I believe that by the power of the Spirit, we, yes, you and I, yes, in the midst of where we are, with our quirks and personalities and messiness, we can be bearers of this vision. In other words, I believe that we can make the kingdom known in these ways that we see described here. We, by the power of the Spirit, being instruments so that folks around us can begin seeing the God who indwells in our cities. So I don't just see a new Jerusalem, as beautiful as it sounds. I actually see a new Lincoln. A place where there is no more tears, no more death, no more disease. Can you just imagine it for a minute? Just for a minute with me. Can you imagine a Lincoln with no COVID? Can you imagine a Lincoln without sexual violence? Can you just for a moment with me imagine a Lincoln without homelessness? Can you imagine a Lincoln without folks being food insecure? Can you imagine a Lincoln where neighbors come alongside neighbors and see themselves in their true humanity, in their true human dignity? Can you just for a moment imagine that reality? And we nod, right? No hatred. No people on the margins. Can you imagine? Doesn't it sound amazing? The promise of long ago is still the promise to us today. Now the fulfillment of that reality is not going to come to its fruition until the end of time. And I get that. And even though I'm impatient and would like to see it yesterday, I understand that. But I believe that for now, for this present moment, as that great poet Machado tells us, we make the road by walking. So I believe we together as God's people can take one step. One step. Because of who this God is. We taking one step together to make sure that our neighbors experience the God who dwells among mortals. We taking one step together to live in ways that do not promote violence or despair or hopelessness. We together taking one step so that others can experience abundance of life. We together taking one step. Yes, us. Yes, broken. Yes, not always having it together. We modeling for the world this reality. We rehearsing it. And I believe that, folks, as we rehearse it, we begin to see little offshoots of hope, of new life, of possibility. Yes, I can see it now. tears being dried up, people being freed from their bondage. Maybe you living again, raising from the dead. Us, this little corner of Lincoln, becoming a greenhouse of a new creation, of the God who makes all things new. Because that is who God is. That is who God is. He's the God who comes down and dwells among us. This is who God is. This God is the God who comes and lives in our form. This is who God is, the mother who gathers her children when they need it most. This is who God is, the God who brings us that hope and peace and completion when all seems to be falling apart. This is who God is. The question is, can you imagine it? Can you see it? Now, can we be it?